Hey guys, how's it going? It's Meg, so good to see you again. We got a different kind of video today, and you can probably tell by the title that this isn't like a typical beauty video where I'm like all done up, I'm going to show you favorite products, I'm gonna have a tutorial. I just wanted to have a different kind of video. I wanted to be able to share more of myself with you guys on video, and so you guys have kind of an idea of what my personality is like, even more, just a little insight into my personal life and stuff that's going on with me. And I feel like I just really want to share something that's going on. We're in a different part of my office. This is like an office slash guest room as well, so we're here on the day bed with all my fluffy pretty pillows. So I just wanted this to feel more chill. I didn't want this to feel like a huge production, and I'm not going to keep blabbing on about what I'm going to talk about. I'm just going to jump right in. I have made the decision to become a full-time blogger. So this is exciting, scary, crazy. I am scared, I'm sad, I'm excited. I'm a lot of different emotions, and when you're watching this, I'm like done teaching for who knows how long. So a lot of people will say, you know, I'm a full-time blogger. They'll say that that's their career, but I've always been the mindset of it like I'm not a stay-at-home mom who also blogs. Not that there's anything wrong with that, because blogging is absolutely a job, but I have taken this so seriously that if I were to ever do this full-time, it needed to be something that can contribute to our family, that's an actual income, something that's bringing in what I could have been making at my job. So I want to tell you my story of like my blog, how I started. I want to tell you about why I came to this decision. There's really two stories to tell you, and both of these stories intersect, and it's led me to where it is today. So I'm going to tell you the story of how I started my blog, and then I'm going to tell you the story of what I started doing right after I got out of college and my teaching career, and how these two things intersected and where it all leads me today. And I hope that maybe it inspires you, maybe it gives you a little bit of motivation to keep going, because I know that I'm certainly not a superstar by any means. This is a beginning. This is a new chapter for me. I have a lot to learn, and I have so much to do to grow. So this is just one chapter of my book closing and another one opening. And I don't know. I don't know why I'm getting so emotional over this. I didn't think I would. Okay. Okay, so we'll start with my blog story. My story of my blog is my best friend Katie. She actually like told me that I needed to start a blog. She was like, oh my gosh, you should blog, everybody's blogging. Like, it wasn't really a thing back then. People didn't really blog for money. I didn't know you could even make money with a blog. I thought it was just for fun. Like, I would post, I started out with just like pictures of my wedding and like keeping up with family. It was one of those things that I never really like intended it for it to be anything. Like, it was just for fun. Then I started growing readers. Like, people started following me. People said that they really liked me, and my blog grew. Meanwhile, I got pregnant with my first child, Kennedy. I realized in the process that I could make money working for brands. I could grow my page views, and I could reach a lot of people learning Pinterest. I grew my Instagram. I learned how to do all these things, and I took it seriously. I couldn't dedicate as much time as I had wanted to my blog because, you know, I was not only working full-time, but I became a mom, and I had really hard, difficult hours, and it just was not an ideal situation to throw everything that I had into my blog at the time. But my blog grew a lot, and I put a lot of work into it. My husband and I had like different fights every now and then about how much time that I was spending on it. He didn't understand why I was spending so much time on something that wasn't rewarding me. And at the time, you know, he had a very valid point. Like, why are we not cutting something out when I had myself spread it so thin everywhere? My blog started in 2009 and it just kind of evolved as different things happened in my life. And when I was blogging, it used to be like, you know, here's some funny gifts, or we shared what we did on the weekend, and you know, some of my photography from back then is just like gagging. Like, it's just laughable because I used to like throw makeup products on the concrete floor of my apartment patio. Flat lays! I had just like a passion for finding really great products and sharing those with my readers, and I think people connected with that. And when I got my knowledge onto Pinterest, I started going viral for a lot of my beauty content. And that brought me in a lot of readers. And I just grew my blog more and more and more, even though I couldn't dedicate my time to it as a career. So now let's go to my other story, which is my teaching career. So if you don't know this about me, I just finished my 10th year teaching. I know, I'm super young. No, I'm not. I'm not super young. I started teaching when I was 23 years old. High school. I started teaching high school. I was a high school theater teacher for 8 years. And I taught at the high school that I went to. I was teaching with a teacher who really inspired me and was like family to me, so it was such an amazing situation to be in with students that were really on fire for theater. I directed a ton of plays, over 30 plays, and it was perfect for when I didn't have kids or I wasn't married or anything like that. But my relationship, like, I met Greg when I first started teaching, and we got married in 2009, which is ironic, which is the same year I then later started my blog. Teaching became, like, I loved it. I lived for it. I loved everything about directing theater. But then when I became a mom, it was something changed in me where I realized that this profession was not necessarily the best one for me to be a mom to. And yes, while I did get summers off, I got holidays off. I was at school till 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. if I had rehearsal. Show weeks, I was there later, 9, 10 o'clock. Show nights, forget it. You wouldn't see me all weekend. I sometimes had Saturday rehearsals that I had to do. And it is one of these jobs that the work never ends when you go home. Like, there's always something to prep. There's always like, okay, I've got to, you know, cut some lines or do some casting or like work on some stuff that I need to get prepped for rehearsal or class, because I taught 6 classes, then I directed plays after school. It was like having 2 jobs in one. Then I had this blog over here on the side that I loved, and then I had children. It was just so much for me. I realized that I was being pulled in so many different directions, and when I became a mom, teaching, I was not on fire for it as much as I used to be. I loved theater, but I started to hate it because it was pulling me away from my baby. And when I had Caroline, my second, I was at the worst I've ever been as far as work-life balance. I was crying almost every day. I was just miserable. Like, I felt like I missed all of Caroline's first year of her life. I was lucky to have such a supportive husband. Like, Greg has been nothing but the most supportive husband ever, I'm telling you. And he pretty much did everything. He's extremely involved in my kids' lives. He picks up all the pieces that I'm scattered everywhere. I owe him everything. He is everything. And I came to a point where I was in my 8th year of teaching high school, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. And my school district wouldn't help me. Like, they wouldn't help me move to maybe like junior high where I wouldn't have after school rehearsal or part-time. They wouldn't help me. I put in 8 years of teaching, and they just basically told me that if I wanted to stay in the district, I was to stay where I was teaching. So I left. I left with nothing lined up. I was really bitter and angry about it. Luckily, these last 2 years, I was able to score an amazing job where I taught part-time. So I would go in afternoons. This opened up like a little window for me to really pursue blogging. For me to say, okay, my blog has always been something that I really cared about, and I really always worked hard on and hustled, even if I had like 3 seconds to work on it. And now it can actually be a thing that I do. My job has been working from about 12 to 4 every day, so I would be with my kids in the morning, I'd drop them off at school, I'd have a couple hours to myself to work on my blog or anything else I needed to do, and then once everybody else went to bed, I finished up whatever I needed to do. I was able to pretty much bring in, income-wise, what I lost from going full-time teacher to part-time teacher. And my blog pretty much did so amazing at that point for me. Like, I was like, I have so much time to commit to it. I felt like I just really had a handle on it. Like, I was doing amazing. And I was so happy because I got to see my kids. I could be there for everything. I felt so much more present and balanced. I didn't feel like I was pulled in 5,000 different directions. I go into this year of teaching, so this current school year that's now over. I was given high reviews for all of my observations and stuff like that at school. Like, all of my administrators told me that they loved me and thought I was doing a great job teaching. I love teaching. I was able to translate what I did in the high school and brought it down to my little 6th graders at a junior high. I loved it, and I had such a fun time, and my administrators loved me. And a long story short, this year my position is going from half-time to full-time, and they want to make it one person. They don't want to split up with two teachers, and so they offered it to me, and I declined because I was right here. This is where this blog and my teaching career kind of intersected. And I came to this crossroads because if I went full-time teaching, it would be a steady income. Like, it wouldn't be near as much work as that I had to do when I was teaching full-time in high school. It would be predictable. It's not a hard schedule. But I was missing out, on the other hand, all this other stuff that I could be leaving on the table that I was doing with my blog. I cared so much about it, and I take it seriously. I would be almost essentially throwing all of that away. Not necessarily throwing it away, but I wouldn't have near as much time to do what I can do. My husband and I had a really, we talked about it, and we looked at all the numbers, and we said, you know what, if you don't do it now, when can you ever? And it's true. I made that decision, and I said, I loved this opportunity. It was 2 years that saved me. Not only did this teaching part-time stuff let me do what I love to do, which is teach theater, it let me be a mom, and it let me grow my blog all at the same time. More and more, I felt like my teaching job was kind of cramping a little bit with my blog. They were starting to butt heads a little bit because my blog was getting bigger and bigger and more hard to manage. But here I am. I said, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to come back. I can't do it. And there's no hard feelings. I can go back to teaching anytime I want. But how do I know what my blog could have done if I don't try? I'm saying goodbye to teaching, my teaching career, after 10 years. And it's just a really bittersweet emotion that I'm having right now. I'm so excited to see what I can do. That's my own creative universe. But at the same time, this is all I've ever known since I was 23 years old. And it's a little scary making that jump. But I've got a husband who is extremely supportive of me and believes in me, and it also doesn't hurt that I have a child going to kindergarten next year, so we're gonna get a pay raise there. Hallelujah. I just have to go for it. I did not take this decision lightly at all, and I wanted you to kind of know my story. This is how I came to this point in my life as far as my blog, my career, being a mom, all that other stuff. And I wanted to share that with you because I know we all have like ups and downs with our career and our balance in our life, or things are happening and we feel like they're out of our control, but we don't understand why. But one day things may come to a crossroads for you and you'll have to make that hard decision. And sometimes making that hard decision is the right decision to do, because when will you ever have the opportunity to do something like that ever again? And I hope that if anything, it'll inspire you to make those hard decisions. You may not be a blogger, you may just be somebody trying to do something for yourself and your family, starting a business, or going back to school, or it could be even making a really important life decision. If you don't do it now, when will you ever do it? There's never a right time for anything. And that's the main thing out of being an adult and having to do adult things. That's the number one lesson that I think I've learned. There is never a right time for anything, but it's always right when you make that decision and go for it. So I guess that's just what I'm getting at here, and I'm really thankful that all of you throughout the years have... Oh my gosh! I'm extremely thankful for all of you throughout the years who have read my blog, followed along, and kind of been here with me and trusted me and thought that I was fun to be around or listen or read or whatever. I really thank you for your support over the years. Without you guys watching and reading and clicking and whatever else, this wouldn't mean anything. I would be doing this for nothing. I do this for you guys. I blog because I want to share things. I don't do this to be like, look at me. I do this because I love to be creative and I love to share with other people my experiences and things that make me tick and happy. If you're new, I'm so glad that you're here to watch as well. So like I said, this is a new chapter in my book of life and I'm so excited about it. I can't wait to share more with you and amp everything up even more. If you're going to leave a comment, I'd love for you to tell me any other content suggestions that you'd like me to start doing, either here on YouTube or on my blog or anything like that. I'd love to know what you want to see from me. Again, thank you so much for being a part of this journey, and it's because of you that I was able to come to this crossroads and make that hard decision and just go for it. So, I will see you all in my next blog post, video, whatever else. If you like what you see, make sure you subscribe and follow along on social media, because I guess you'll be seeing more from me. Have a great day. Bye.